Як оволодіти креативним письмом англійською мовою? Поради та рекомендації дає перекладачка, письменниця, викладачка англійської та німецької мов у мовній школі Brainy English Ольга Тер-Вартанова. Ольга, вам слово.
Дуже дякую. Мені дуже приємно сьогодні бути з вами і проводити лекцію англійською мовою про креативне письмо саме англійською мовою. І сподіваюся, що після сьогоднішньої лекції ви замислитесь над тим, щоб писати саме англійською. Можливо, ви перестанете боятися писати англійською і взагалі чудово проведете наступну годину разом зі мною. Well, so let's begin, and I will share the screen with you, and we shall begin. All right, so let me do the full screen. Well, so here it is, creative writing in English. Well, before we begin, I will tell you some rules, my ideas about how we will do it. Well, I know that there are lots of you guys, more than 20 people, so I will definitely ask you, if you want to answer some of my questions, you can raise your hand, and then you can turn on your microphone and speak up. I welcome everyone to do this. Or if you feel a little bit shy, you don't want to speak, you can write down in the chat and I will check it and everyone will do the same. And so you can answer in both ways, orally, by raising your hand, or in chat, whatever feels good to you. Well, so you are right. I am an English and German teacher, translator, and also a little bit of a writer. I have not been published anywhere yet. I'm still working on my collection of short stories, which I'm writing in English. So I thought, why not to give you some insights and motivation to start writing in English too. Well, but before we do that, I have a question for you. What is creative writing? How do you understand it in your own words in English? So I'm asking for a volunteer, the first person on our session to answer this question, to share your ideas. What is creative writing? Like, how do you see this process? You can raise your hand and answer. Okay, we have a volunteer, Irina. You are welcome, please.
I want to try to speak English too. I hope. Creative writing for me, it's like when you write a fiction book, like when your imagination work more than facts, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for mentioning imagination. It's a big thing, and without imagination, well, you cannot create something new. So thank you very much, Irina. Well, we have some more students. Sasha Dudnik, you're welcome.
Hello. Creating writing for me is when we can have a lot of interesting ideas, and when we can write better than we can now.
All right. Yes, you are absolutely right. This is the process of creating something new, and it is always exciting. You can basically create your own world. You are the master, the creator of your world, right here. Thank you very much. Well, we have some more hands. I'm very excited by this. Well, Alexander, you are welcome.
Want to submit some facts, some scientific actually facts, with using creative technologies and moreover some interactive technologies. So you you're not only showing your fact, you interact with people who read your book or story.
Well, thank you very much for pointing out that creative writing is not only about fiction, it's also about science fiction, and you can present some facts in a very creative way. Thank you very much. This is very important because creative writing, it's not only about poetry or novels, it's also about science fiction. Thank you. And we have the last person here, Vsevolod, you are welcome.
Creative writing for me, it is way to tell somebody your opinions means more interesting and better than usual.
All right. Yes, you are completely right. So you are trying to find ways to share your emotions, your ideas with the audience. That is very important. The audience is also very important. Thank you. Oh, we have some answers in the chat. Improving their skills. Yes, so if you are a beginner, as for example I am, creative writing is very important, and a form of art therapy, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for all your great ideas. Oh, we have, all right, the last hand, Svetlana, you are welcome.
In my opinion, creative writing is writing clearly when the reader dives into the story with excitement.
Yes, absolutely. So you understand that you write not only to yourself or about yourself, you also have readers who will read your stories and who will feel some emotions because of what you have written. And this is very important because it's a kind of communication between you, your text, and the reader. Thank you very much. And well, this is my answer. So creative writing, this is when you think and write together with imagination, you think outside of the box, which is very important. And well, some types of creative writing, it can be poetry, short fiction, novels, screenplays, graphic novels, essays, humor writing, and also I forgot to mention science fiction is also a type of creative writing. And basically, even, for example, a post on Instagram or on Facebook, this is also creative writing because you use your creativity. Well, now I would like to know you a little bit. So I will ask you to go to menti.com. This is a kind of a website for presentations, for shared presentation. And please use this code. I will write down this in the chat. So 1 second. Menti.com. Please find this website, and the code to access this presentation is this. So you can copy it from the chat, and I will and I will also go there, and we will have some conversation with you there. 1 second, I will wait a second. Okay, that is a new technology which I have not used so far, so give me a second. Well, so here we have, let's present. So have you accessed the presentation, right? So there should be the first, yes, and I already see your answers. So my first one, okay, yes, you are very active. So the first question is, how would you describe literature in 3 words? And we have some exciting answers. Imagination. Awesome. Okay. Words, flight, okay. River, all right. Some other. I will give you a second, maybe you need more time to access. Yes, new reality, absolutely. Because any books is a new reality, good. Creative, absolutely. All right. Another world, yes, fantasy world, good. Creativity, yes, well done. So I see that most of the answers are about creativity, about creating new reality or another world, and it's very awesome, and you need imagination, absolutely. Any other? All right, some new. Interesting, yes. Words, think, of course, you have to think when you write, for sure. All right, thank you very much. And we move on to the next question. And well, what genres of literature do you like reading? So here we have just some of them. As fantasy, teen, historical, romance, children's books, about politics, biographies, science, so whatever. So please write down what genres of books do you like reading. Surrealism, oh, that is very difficult to read, but I'm very excited. I'm very actually surprised by this first answer. Very good. While you are answering, I will tell you a little bit about myself. I like fantasy books a lot. It's just any fantasy books are about new worlds, some new characters who are very interesting, who have their own powers, and this is very, very exciting for me. As for the writing, as a writer, yeah, I tend to write fantasy books. Right now I'm working on a big project about fantasy. I create my own fantasy world. Hopefully one day you will see it on the bookshelves in the bookstores. Well, we have some other ideas: historical, detective, mystery, good, romance, good, children's, good, business, all right, poems, very good, education, sci-fi. Well, I see that you have a variety of preferences: non-fiction, good, urban, religion, good, young adult, nice, biographies, nice. What else? We have something new, maybe. All right, so I see that you have a variety of interests, which is great. You know, there is a stereotype that nowadays children and teenagers don't actually read as much. Well, I see that we can disagree with this idea, because you read so many different books. I see horror now, I see Western, which is very interesting, about birds, good, about nature, teens, about spice, about space, probably, good. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Well, we can move on. Some other ideas. Health. All right, so I see some of your preferences. Very good. We can go back to our main presentation and we can move on. So now I know you guys, and I see that actually teenagers read, and I'm very happy about it. Well, my next question to you, do you know who is Neil Gaiman? Well, I will give you a hint. It's a writer. He is a very well-known English writer. So we have Sasha, please. You would like to share something?
I remember this writer. Maybe it's a hero, fantastic, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I heard
You heard.
hear about him, and it's fantastic from 20th века.
20th century.
Yeah, and he had a lot of fantastic stories, and he writes about fantastic thing, but how I remember this fantastic things that time, сейчас, ну, то есть ті фантастичні вещи, які були тоді, зараз становляться реальністю. І, по-моєму, він цим і відомий.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. You are absolutely right. He is, well, he's not only fantasy writer. He has lots of books, but one of his majors is fantasy writing. All right, we have some more guys to share. Maria, you are welcome.
I guess he isn't so much a fantastic writer because he writes about gods and goddess and mythology at all. His most famous book is about American gods, Scandinavian. So he made his stories about basing on myths.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. American Gods, one of his famous books, which I really recommend you to read. And yeah, Neil Gaiman is very versatile writer. He writes not only fantasy, he has a variety of books about a lot of things. And he is contemporary, so he is modern author. He is still alive, thanks God, and he's still working on his new books, and I'm very excited about them. He is also very successful writer right now. He won lots of awards. You can see it on the left, like Carnegie Medal in Literature, Bram Stoker Award. He is very renowned writer. I have read almost everything from him. So from my perspective, I would really recommend you reading Neverwhere, very great book. Ocean at the End of the Lane, very good book. American Gods, yes, for sure. And what else? And Good Omens, together with Terry Pratchett. So he is cool. And he's why I'm talking right now about Neil Gaiman. He is modern. So his English is very modern. And it's not like reading Shakespeare or like Sister Bronte's in English. So you can actually read and you can actually understand what he is writing about. Because when for example, my English students ask me, well, I decided to read, I don't know, Bronte in English, but I don't understand anything. Like, is my English so bad? No, your English is totally fine. It's just the book is old-fashioned, the language is old-fashioned, so people don't speak like this anymore. So you should also, if you want to write in English, you should read modern books, and Neil Gaiman is a good start point for you. So definitely look for him. And right now, he's also known for his masterclass on creative writing, which is great. I really recommend, if you have money for this, or if you can download it somewhere for free, he is great in his masterclass, and he really gives good tips on how to write in English. So right now we will watch a short clip about him, and he will give some advice to us, to you. And we have 4 questions. How did Neil Gaiman achieve success as a fiction writer? What problems did Neil Gaiman encounter or meet when he was a young writer? What did he realize at his first writer's workshop? And what was he scared of when he was writing his stories? So these are our 4 questions, and we have to find answers. So your task will be watch the video. It's like 5 minutes long. Try to find answers for all these questions, and then you can raise your hand and say, for example, number 1 is some blah, blah, blah. Number 2 is blah, blah, blah. Or you can write down in the chat, whatever you feel like. So let's watch it.
All fiction has to be as honest as you can make it. This, I believe. This may not be true for every other writer out there. It may not be true for any other writer there, but it's true for this writer. You have to make it as honest as you can, because that's what people respond to. As far as I'm concerned, any success I have achieved as a writer of fiction, I have achieved because I'm an honest writer of fiction, because my people are real people, because you care about them. The hardest time for me was starting out as a very, very young writer. I wrote short stories and I sent them out to places that could conceivably publish them, and they all came back. And I looked at the stories which went out and came back, and went out and came back. And I thought, okay, well, one of 2 things is true here. Either I'm not good enough, or I don't understand the world. The stuff I don't get, the stuff I need to know. And I thought, okay, so as of today, I am now a freelance journalist specializing in the world of publishing and fantasy and science fiction. And I decided I was a journalist because I thought that gives me license to ask questions. It gives me license to go out into that world and meet everybody, find out who everybody is, find out what they do, find out how they read, to learn. And then I got invited to my first writer's workshop. It was the Milford Writers' Workshop, and I was sitting there with a bunch of fantastic writers like Gwyneth Jones and Diana Wynne Jones and Mary Gentle. And I realized very, very quickly that my reactions to stories were things like, I like this, or I don't like this, or this is good. That wasn't their reaction. They were responding to stories on a much deeper level. They were reading different stories to what I was reading. And I realized I was reading the stories as an audience, and they were reading stories as craftspeople, as people who built these things, as people who did this. And I also realized I was wrong. I was wrong if I wanted to be a writer. And they were right. And that experience, more than anything else, I think changed me. And it changed me mostly because I realized that in order to write fiction, I needed to be honest. Up until that point, I had a facility with voices. I could do essentially impressions of other writers. I could write things that felt kind of like things that other writers would have written and written well, but I didn't have anything to say. And that wasn't because I hadn't lived. That was because I wasn't really prepared to say anything true about who I was. I didn't want to be judged. I didn't want people reading any of my stories to know who I was or what I thought or to get in too close. And I realized that if you're going to write, if you're going to be a successful writer, at least if you're going to be the kind of writer who did the kind of stuff that I was going to do, you had to be willing to do the equivalent of walking down a street naked. You had to be able to show too much of yourself. You had to be just a little bit more honest than you were comfortable with. And if people judged you, if they felt they knew who you were, that was just something that you were going to have to live with. And what was strange is once I started doing that, and I was expecting to be judged or shunned or people's opinions or to have to deal with things, and what I discovered was actually their opinions were, we really like this. We love this story. It's a good story. It felt huge. It felt personal. And I realized that's because I was being honest about me. And some things, when you get really specific, apply to so many of us. So that was how I took my darkest period and eventually turned it around.
All right, so that was Neil Gaiman and some of his tips on creative writing. So let's consider the questions. So how did Neil Gaiman achieve success as a fiction writer? Do we have any ideas? Yes, Alexander, you were the first one.
So he said that he was honest, and with his readers, he was mostly and more honest than he is in his usual life.
Absolutely. And this is our first point that you have to consider. Be honest with your readers, be honest not only with readers, but be honest with yourself, first of all, and be honest with what you are writing. So you should definitely believe in what you are writing. This is very important. Well, we have some more hands. Victoria, you're welcome.
Second question, he have problems that he don't know about what he want to say.
Yes, thank you very much. So one of his problems that he didn't know what to say. That is very true for young writers. You may think that everything else had already been written and there is nothing else to say, but it's actually not true. Maria, do you have something to add?
Actually, I'd like to answer the fourth question.
The fourth question. Okay, let's wait a little bit. Do we have anyone else answering the second question? Because it's not only about, that's not the full answer. Do we have anyone for second question? Svetlana?
I'd like to answer the first question.
The fourth, wait a second. Second question, do we have anyone?
I think that he said that his own one of the problems was that all his stories came back, and it was a bit scary and embarrassed for him because he believed that they will be printed, but they don't do it.
Right, yeah. So the problem of failure is very, very big part of writing, and you will have to, well, you will receive some criticism from other people, and it's okay, and some of your stories might not be published, and it's also okay. So it doesn't mean that you are not a writer. It is just some people don't understand what you are writing, or I don't know, some other reasons for that. But remember, if you get rejected, if your story is not published, just continue working. This is very important. All right. Yes, I think that was all of his problems. And let's move on to the question 3. What did he realize at the writer's workshop? Do we have anyone? Irina?
Yeah. He realized that he read, write, and even react not like other writers around him. It's different ways for...
Yes.
Мне нужно сформулировать.
You are in a right direction.
Так. He and other writers use very different ways to read and to understand text. Is that he realized?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And the problem was that he treated all books like he was the reader, right? When you read a book, you can say, oh, I like this character, or I like this situation, or I like in general this book, or I don't like it. But when you are a writer and you actually read someone else's books, is not only about liking or disliking something. This is about you have to read and understand why you like this or why you don't like this. So, for example, you write this, you like this chapter. Why do you like this chapter? Do you like dialogues in this chapter, or do you like a description in this chapter, or you like characters in this chapter? And why do you like this character? Because of his actions, because of his looks. So when you read, look for some details. Look for language, look for how it was written, because it is very important. If you want to learn how to write in English, which is not your native language, you should read in English a lot, and I will talk about it in a second. And you should open a dictionary. Yes, a dictionary. Use a dictionary to check what does this word mean, how we can use it, how does this writer use it, because it's very important. And please read English American writers, English writers, Australian writers, because they know how to use language. We, as English learners, we actually don't know how to use language. I mean, I have been learning English for more than half of my life, I would say more than 15 years I've been learning English. And still, when I read books in English, I still look like, oh, that is an interesting way how the author wrote this sentence or that question. And this is all about feeling and understanding language, not translating from Ukrainian or Russian into English, but actually feeling the language. And this is what he lacked, even though he is a native language, native speaker, but he did not have this skill to actually see how the author used language. That is very important. All right, and question 4, what was he scared of when writing his stories? Well, Maria, you are welcome.
First of all, he said that he was scared, even terrified of people getting too close to him, to his personality, to his soul. And he didn't want them to see what he thinks, what he feels actually. And then when he went through this feeling, he said that he was scared of being rejected, ashamed, and shunned. So that is what he was scared of.
Yes, thank you very much. So, of course, when you read a story and readers get close to writers, because even if a writer writes about fantasy world, this is still his ideas and his feelings, and you can definitely understand this. So to be open to people, to such big audience, like thousands of people can read this story. So you are very vulnerable to their judgments, and people can be judgmental very much. So that was he was scared of. All right, we still have some hands. Guys, do you want to add something? Well, Sasha, you are welcome.
He always scared other people's opinion. I don't remember said this fact or no. And he scared what he must write. He didn't know write fantasy or maybe anything else. But how I remember, he had a moment when he understood what he wants to write, and пішов писати фантастику.
Yes, absolutely. When you understand what you want to write, this is probably the best feeling that a writer can get, for sure. And Svetlana, you are welcome.
He was afraid of being judged.
Of being judged.
He didn't want people to know what he thinks about.
Yes, absolutely. So to be a writer, this is a tough profession. First of all, you never know, well, how much money you will be paid. And you actually don't know if your book will be published or not. That's why in most cases, writers begin doing this as a hobby or as a second job. So it's not like, oh, I will quit my full-time job and I will write. No, usually how the writers begin, they have their regular job at the office, for example, and at night in the evening they write. So this is how they begin, and this is what it gets. And maybe next, when you get popular, then you can quit your office job. But it's a tough career. So whether to become a writer or not to become a writer, this is a question up to you. I will not answer it. All right, thank you very much. And
all fiction.
Sorry. And now we move on and let's have fun a little bit with you. Well, have a look at this creative writing prompt. This is a very good technique when you want to develop your writing skills. I definitely recommend you to do this. You can search, you can Google like interesting creative writing prompts, and you will have like billions of articles which give you such small situations that you can use to open your creativity. So now you will have this chance. You have a prompt, you can read it on the screen, and I will give you 5-7 minutes to write in the chat if you would like to share, or maybe in your copybook if you don't want to share. Write whatever comes into your mind in English. It can be one sentence, two sentences, one word. It's totally fine, but be creative and don't think too much. Just write what comes into your head. Yes, Sasha, you have a question.
What kind of sentences? Тема. Яка тема?
The topic is on the screen. A child moves into a new house and finds out that the other kids in town think that this house is haunted. Haunted with ghosts, з привидами. She begins to invent ghost stories to tell at school in order to get attention. But the more stories she tells, the more frightened she becomes of the house. So this is something, a scaring, frightening house with mysteries and with ghosts, maybe. So write down everything that comes into your mind after reading this situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I will give you 7 minutes, probably 5. You are welcome to open your creativity. Well, I already see some of your creative writing ideas, and that is very...
1 minute.
Yeah, no problem. You still have time. You still have 3-4 minutes. All right, we already have 3 people joining our practice, which is cool. Okay, number 4. I will not read them out loud, but you can look what your classmates, or friends, or in this on this lecture have written, and I'm very impressed. Very good. So you see, such writing verbal prompts are very good. You can practice your English every day, like write whatever comes to your mind. That is very cool. All right, thank you very much. That was kind of break for me, not for you, but we can move on. And here we have some tips on writing, which was also made by Neil Gaiman. So I have compiled a list of all his tips. And from this list, you can look over it. I would say the most important are number 1, 2, 3, well, actually all of them. But when you write, of course, you have to finish what you are writing. This is very important. People ask me, like, how do you write? Well, I just take a pen or a pencil, or I use my copybook or computer. I open a doc file. I look at the white piece of paper, and I just start writing. I put letters to letters, words to words, sentences to sentences, paragraphs to paragraphs. I can delete everything. I can just throw away, but at least I start writing. Don't be afraid actually of the white piece of paper without anything written of it. It means that you have a place for being creative. And when you start finishing writing, don't forget about finishing. This is very important. When you have finished what you have written, put it aside. Put it somewhere and let it sit for some time. Then maybe in a week, maybe in 2 weeks, go back and reread what you have written and fix it. This is number 3. Edit, correct, cross out, write something new. This is the process. Some people say, oh, I will wait for imagination, or I will wait for kind of inspiration. Yes, it actually doesn't work like this. Writing is a job, it's an activity. And yeah, inspiration and imagination is good, but if you might not have it every day, right? And you don't have, you shouldn't say, oh, I will wait for the next day. I will see, maybe I will have imagination tomorrow. No, do it today. And this is how it works. Don't wait for imagination and then fix it. And I would say number 5 is also very good. It's like that you are the master of your stories. So you can do whatever you want, whatever you like, but remember, Neil Gaiman, you should be honest with yourself, right? This is the most important. If you feel like writing a fantasy book with vampires, monsters, witches, whatever, do it if you actually wanted to write. So this is what he says about tips on writing. And actually, this is what works for Neil Gaiman. Maybe it will not work for you, I don't know. But if you have your favorite writer, for example, I don't know what are people reading right now. For example, Leigh Bardugo and her Shadow and Bone trilogy about Grishaverse. Search for her advice. she will give some good advice to you. If you like someone from classical literature, like oh my God, I cannot. Oscar Wilde, let it be. Look for what he wrote about writing, because actually writers write about the process of writing. So if you have your favorite writer, do it. Well, Dasha, do you have? Oh, Sasha, sorry, do you have a question?
No, the question I want to say that Oscar Wilde is very good to write it, and he had a romance, Dorian Gray's portrait, and it's perfect, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's a very good book. The language is pretty good. So if you like Oscar Wilde, I believe he has some letters written about creativity and about writing. So you can look how he wrote, about his process of writing. You may consider it too. And now we have another activity. Now you have visual prompts, which is also very interesting kind of activity. This time you have 2 pictures. So it means that you have 2 stories, 2 prompts to choose from. So you choose one picture that you like or you have ideas about, and you also have 5 minutes to write whatever comes to your head about this picture. And while you are writing, I will look through your answers to the previous activity. So this visual prompts are very interesting and are very easy to do. You just go to Pinterest and look at pictures, and you choose whatever you want for practicing. So you have 5 minutes.
Sorry, repeat please what we must do.
Okay, yeah, sure. You have 2 pictures, right? The man somewhere in the castle or in fortress, and an older man in his vintage store, for example. You choose one picture that you like, and you write whatever comes to your mind about these pictures.
Oh, thank you. Thank
So
you. So
last time you had this girl and a haunted house. This time you have pictures instead of words. If you want, you can combine 2 pictures, whatever you feel like. All right, I already see Sasha has submitted her piece of story. Yes, Anna, very good. All right, while you are finishing with your ideas, I would like to comment on the first prompt that you submitted. I read all of your answers and I'm very surprised. Very good, guys. And you know, the one thing that I noticed is that all of your ideas are different. Yes, they are around this house and ghosts and some strange things happening, but how you wrote it and details are different in all of it, in all of your short stories. This is great. I see that you have very good imagination. Okay. Right, I see some new ideas. And I see that your English is very good. That is great. You have, most of you guys, I would say all of you guys has a good choice of English grammar and vocabulary. That is good. All right, I will give you 1 more minute to finish up, to send if you want. If you feel shy, you don't have to. Oh, that's a big one. And you see, you had 5 minutes and you wrote so much. So, you know, if you say, oh, I don't have time for writing, you just had 5 plus 5, 10 minutes for writing and you did it. So don't use this excuse that you don't have time. You actually have it. Even 5 minutes. And some other pieces. Okay, yeah, very good, guys. And let's move on. Let's have a look at some, well, my personal tips on how to write in English. So yeah, you know, I'm not a native speaker. I started writing in Russian. Unfortunately, I cannot write in Ukrainian. I cannot express my ideas in Ukrainian very well. So I started writing at 14 or maybe 12 in Russian. And then when I went to university, I thought, I finished linguistic university and English is my major. So I thought, why not starting writing in English? So that is when I started looking for some tips on how I can change, how I can express my ideas in English from the, originally in English. So the first tip, not unexpected, write every day. So the more you practice, the better you become in writing. That's not a pill or a medicine or a cure. This is hard job. And as we are not native speakers, we have to write every day. And the second one is also understandable. You have to expose yourself to English as much as possible. So reading, listening, writing, everything in English. So you like YouTube, watch YouTube in English. You write reading, read in English. You like music, do it in English. You like podcasts, listen to them in English and make notes. Study what you are reading or listening to. Don't just say, oh, I like this or like that. Ask yourself why you like it. Maybe you like this metaphor. Maybe you like this idiom. Write it down in your notebook. You can use it. So look for language. And that is why you keep notes on your vocabulary, that is true, and don't translate. I have never translated my stories from Russian into English. I just left them in Russian because they are written in Russian. As for my English stories, when I write, I try not to translate my ideas word for word. I translate them sense by sense. So, and in order to be comfortable with writing in English, you have to expose yourself. That is, there is no other way. You should have experience in English. Well, the next one is ask someone to read your stories and comment on them. That is also very important. You can ask your English teacher because she might, he or she might be more experienced in English, so they might help you. Ask your friends to do it. They might give you some good criticism on it. But remember, you still can do whatever you want. Books, your books are your place where you can play, where you have your own rules and rights. So whatever you want to do, do it, but be honest. Well, the next one, which is inevitable struggle. You will struggle, and I struggle every day. When I sit down, I open my story, not finished story, and I'm trying to write. I don't rely on inspiration. I don't rely on I don't know how to say that in English, but I don't rely on musa or something like that. It doesn't work. It's work that you should do every day. And the last one is participate in various literature competitions, both poetry and short stories. If you just Google competitions, creative writing competitions, you will get millions of links to some ongoing competitions. And usually competitions will have a topic. For example, ghosts, and you have to write a story about ghosts to submit to this competition. So that's a great opportunity. For example, you don't know what to write about, but you see this competition. Oh, now I have a topic. I can write for this competition. Maybe you win, maybe you fail, but you have written a story and you have it, and that is your experience. And have fun. It takes time, it takes a lot of powers and strengths to do it, but don't forget about having fun, which is very nice. And I cannot think of, especially for myself, for a better job, but being a writer. It's very cool. And you never know, maybe you will become popular, and one day Netflix will buy rights for your books and film a TV show. You never know. So always try. This is about trials, failures, and victories at the end. And as a kind of summary and some useful resources for you, I have outlined some of my resources that I really like. The first one is TV Tropes website, which is a great source when you look for some stereotypes, for some metaphors, for some ideas that have already been used in literature. For example, love triangle, very popular. A lot of writers abuse this trope, but you can read the history of love triangle trope, and you can see some of the variations of it. I definitely recommend this website just for fun, even for fun. Next one is Neil Gaiman's masterclass. I have already told about it. If you, the next one is a creative writing course by Wesleyan University on Coursera. If you want to have some theory in English, this course is not bad. It's actually quite good, and you can do it for free. And also there are 3 books which I really like. This is the Wonder book, The Writer's Idea Thesaurus, and Write Like the Masters. And actually right now in the chat, I will send you all these 3 books for you. So then you can download it on your computer and have a look. And I absolutely advise you to look through the Wonder book. Wonder book is my must-have, I would say. 1 second, where is it? Wait a second, recent. Yes, here it is. So this one, it is downloading right now. And while I'm finding on all the books, do you have any questions to me about creative writing? Maybe you have some problems, maybe something else. So you have like, I don't know, a good opportunity to ask questions.
No.
No, good. Well, Vladislava, seems like you have a question. You're welcome.
I want to ask, how would you advise to set aside time? Because I often don't have enough time for writing.
All right, how to set aside time? That is a very good question, which I also struggle with. And just open your calendar. Maybe you have it on your phone. Maybe it's like a planner, a book, a notebook, and make it a choice. For example, today from 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. I will be writing. Or, well, choose when you are the most productive. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, maybe at night. So it's all about your choices. I don't say that, oh, I will not watch TV today and I will write. No, but you should understand that this is your choice. That's why you should plan it ahead. And that's it. There is no secret to that. You should decide. You should make this decision. For example, some days I will be more motivated to write and I will write more. But some days I just have to struggle through it. But I make this choice that, yes, today for example, I'm more productive at night. So from 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. I write. So I switch off my phone, I go to my laptop and I write. And it doesn't matter to me if somebody calls me or texts me. I'm working. It's like my job, and that's it. All right, we have another question in the chat. Where is the best to publish your stories so they can be read and given feedback? Okay, that's a good question. First of all, you can share it with your friends, right? You can send them a link or a file on Telegram, on Instagram, whatever. If you have an Instagram and profile and you are open there, you can share your stories there. But be prepared that you share these stories in open, so somebody can steal it, definitely. Then there are some websites where you can share your original stories and your fan fiction. I don't remember the name of this website in English, so let me give a second. I will Google it. So probably all of you know a Russian website for fan fiction, which is called Kniga Fanfikov, where you can share your original stories too, but it's in Russian. As for English, 1 second, English webs. I will Google it. Keynotes. No, not this one. Okay, 1 second.
Maybe Wattpad.
Yes, this one. That one is very popular right now. Wattpad, then fanfiction.net, and also, let me write it in the chat. Okay, this one is very popular, then Wattpad, but we prepared that there people are more interested in fan fiction, not about in original stories, but still you can get fans there too. So this is your probably beginning. You can do it. And this one. All right, and we have some more. I would like to ask you how you choose such a wonderful profession. Was this decision considered, and did you hesitate? Thank you very much for such a question. As I told you, I started writing at 14 or 12, and it was just a hobby, you know. I remember it was summer. I was in my grandma's house in village. Of course, I didn't have internet, I didn't have phone, so I was bored, and I always was interested in books. So I'm a bookworm. I really like reading. And I thought, why not actually trying to write something by myself? So this is how I started, and it still goes on. So writing is not my full-time job. I'm an English teacher and translator and German teacher. But as you understand from my full-time job, I work with language. And that when I went to university, I thought, yeah, I can get like linguistical education, so I will know language better and I can write better. That was my motivation, why I decided to become a linguist and continue writing. And that's it, probably. It's still not my job. I wish it was, but it's not. As I told you, I have never been published. I share some of my stories on Instagram, and but we'll see. Time will show. All right, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I thank you, all of you, for all your attention, for all your actually willingness to work. To answer, I'm really grateful for this. You were very nice students today, and I was very pleased by your participation, for your answering, and as a kind of note or the last some good words for you: be creative, be open, don't be afraid. That is totally fine. It's okay to be afraid and to be scared, but probably the best feeling is when you open your copybook and you see how your characters interact, how they look, how they speak, and it's great. All of my characters have become my friends, which I love. So yeah, I really wish you good luck. Don't stop on what you have already done. Practice English every day. Listen and read in English every day. And it's okay when it becomes difficult. It means that next day it will become easier. That is the most important part. So if no other questions, I think we can wrap up today's lecture, and I wish you all the best.